Yeah.
What's going on, Bill Apter? I'm Dr. Chris Featherstone here.
Yeah.
Baby, how you doing, my man?
Listen, I'm going to do that chant. Welcome back. Welcome back. We missed you. Did you have a wonderful vacation?
I did, man. It was much needed. It was the longest vacation I've ever taken in my life, man.
I heard you were on special assignment for Sportskeeda. There's something going on that you cannot reveal.
I was on nobody's special assignment. I was on 100% vacation, man. Much needed vacation from being a podcaster and a doctor and a college professor.
And my partner. My partner here on UnSKripted on Wrestle Binge.
Indeed, man. So it was good. It was a good week and a half. It was much needed. It was a nice reset, and I'm glad to be back with my guy, man. Bill Apter. How are you, my man?
I'm glad to see you. So the big news.
What's the big news, Bill?
After Bron Breakker's match tonight,
here's some gongs.
Showed up. What is going on here? Paul Heyman making gestures to be the
special counsel. Yeah.
Yes, to Bron Breakker, who I think is going to be. I hope they move him to the main roster on either show. I think he called Paul. Said call Roman Reigns. So I have a feeling something's going to pop there. But the big thing was they had teased two things. They teased maybe Jade Cargill showing up, and she came out of the car again 3/4 naked. Yeah, I mean, she drives around like this, I guess.
Yes.
And the big thing, the big surprise though, was that the Undertaker came back.
It was a return. I think it was they were there's some rumors about NXT's deal coming up on USA. So I think they wanted to bring some heavy hitters to be able to. Is Lloyd Anoa'i in the chat right now?
Is he?
How about that?
I don't know.
Lloyd Anoa'i.
Do you know where Ishish came from?
You do? Yes, I do. I do.
His uncle,
Yes.
just in case you fans don't remember, his
Yes. We got the
uncle
bloodline.
Afa,
Yes,
yeah,
indeed.
his
Yes,
dad
indeed.
rather, Afa, when he put a nerve hold on somebody, go he she.
Yes.
Yeah,
Ishi.
but the Undertaker, and welcome back, Lloyd. We really enjoyed
Yeah. Welcome.
doing that. Yeah, and we'll have you back again. We'll have
Yes,
you back. We'll
indeed.
do a
Yes,
welcome
indeed.
back chant for you
Thank you,
too.
Lloyd, for supporting the show, man. That's great stuff.
Yes,
Really appreciate it.
spreading the word. And Lloyd knows, my nickname is Apter. But getting back to the Undertaker here,
Yes.
Undertaker Bron Breakker, and you were talking about the deals coming up with USA and the
Yeah.
ratings and everything.
Mhm.
I think tonight, where they were against Dynamite for the first time
Yes.
in years, I think they loaded this card up to kind of show the Tony Khan universe that we have the mega stars to go against your stars.
Mhm. Yeah, I agree. I think it was twofold. I do think it was one, the season, kind of throwing all the names out to really fluff up and spruce up that presentation to renew their deal on USA. And I'd also think twofold, it was a competition to AEW Dynamite. That was main evented by Adam Copeland versus Luchasauras. And so bringing those names in there and that top name, leaving WWE, going to, competing on Dynamite, I do think it's one of those, and that was his first match, I believe.
Yeah.
So, it's one of those things I do think that the WWE, through the NXT brand, intentionally did bring those heavy hitters to
No
the show.
reason why not to. I mean, they have them, and Dynamite brought on their heavy hitters too.
Mm-hmm. We did.
With Adam Copeland and Christian
Yep.
now, of course, in competition with each other. Does
Yep.
it have the fever? Do you feel the fever was anticipated?
Do you feel the fever, Bill Apter?
I asked you first.
I asked you second. Ready? Yes or no on the count of three. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
In the middle.
No.
I think
Okay.
it's,
I like that.
I think it's kind of in the middle. When I watched, that first night when Adam came back, I thought it was exceptional. Even though there were rumors that he was going to do it, it was still a nice surprise.
Sure.
But today, tonight I felt it. I enjoyed it. I watched both shows, one on my cell phone and one on the big TV.
Nice.
And I watched them both and I enjoyed them both. But I don't know if the Adam Copeland part on Dynamite had that intensity that I was hoping for. Again, it was good. I'm not knocking it. It was good, but I don't know if it was intense. What about you?
I agree. I think that's a good assessment. I think it's a fair assessment. I do think that's, it's one of those things that you can tell that, you got to give it up for Tony Khan and his bank account for pulling some strings to be able to have Adam Copeland be headline an AEW show after being the WWE for 25 years.
Yeah.
And so, you got to give it up to him for that, for one. And then for two, it just, I feel with Tony Khan, I just feel just throwing together matches for the star power's sake. I mean, I know I do understand, but I do understand. And the angle that we're kind of having with Edge and Christian, it just kind of speaks for itself because of the history. They're using the history of the WWE, for the sake of AEW. It doesn't feel really organic. That's not necessarily a bad thing because if it's already on the platter, use it. I mean, I get that. And I'm not necessarily opposed to it. But
Mhm.
but the thing is, give me more story. Don't just throw matches together, man. I told you before, I'm just not a
Well,
fan of
matches
that.
or names? Is it throwing matches together, or is it look what we got? We got Adam Copeland.
I
We
think
got
it's a
Brian
combination of
Daniel.
both. I think it's a
Okay.
combination
Okay.
of
Good
both.
point.
Yeah,
Good
yeah,
point.
yeah. And I think, give me more story, man. Give me more story. Just don't just don't go straight to matches, just because you have those names, man. Just spend some more time with the stories. I mean, you have what, 6 hours of television a week now? I mean,
Yeah.
you have, or 5 hours. You have two with Dynamite. You have one with Rampage. You have two with Collision. So you have 5 hours of
Collision.
television. A week.
Yeah.
That's the same. That's the same amount of television as WWE has a week. So
Well,
so you have it. Use it.
but you have the pressure. Tonight was extreme pressure
Yeah. Yeah.
because here they are head to head. That if you remember years back when NXT was on Wednesday nights,
Yeah. Yeah.
NXT pretty much lost to Dynamite.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
but I think tonight, I think the swing is going to go in the other direction right now because of the way that NXT had gotten all the big names to be there, and it was unusual to see like a megastar like John
Yeah.
Cena
Oh,
in a
that's LA
yeah,
Night calls
and
itself.
LA Knight too, but to see John Cena, to actually see him, you can see him,
Mm.
to see him in a smaller arena setting that
Yeah.
could have been like an indie type
Yeah,
of
like an
audience.
OVW type. You know
Yeah,
what?
yeah,
I
yeah,
imagine that John Cena really felt that. I think he felt that because stuff like that. Ed just said it. I mean, a lot of Brian Daniels has said it before. A lot of times, the crowds, and Lloyd would know this in the chat. A lot of times the big crowds is kind of like I made it feel, and it feels good, but a lot of times people get the most adrenaline in those smaller crowds, man,
yes, oh yeah,
because the spotlight feels more on you. You got people watching more intently instead of just casual fans just kind of
well,
on their
ECW
phones
Arena
and
is a
stuff. Yeah,
perfect example of
absolutely.
that.
That's what I
Yeah,
said. Like Lord being an ECW, like he would know, as far as just a ECW arena, and just the intensity that comes with those crowds, those smaller crowds. And
yeah,
John Cena, he, speaking of the wrestlers, series is out now. John Cena was a part of OVW. So he
yeah,
felt that, he was a part of UPW in California and early in his career. So he knows those crowds, and I appreciate that. It just seems like Cena felt it. I mean, just kind of felt that old school, just kind of gritty type of feel
yeah,
that he used to years ago. So yeah,
yeah.
it's a good
You can tell
thing.
it affects.
Yeah.
So
I
which
don't think
show?
that this is. I don't think that this is. I do think this is a one-off, though. I don't think that they'll throw a bunch of talent on a weekly
No.
basis, and I also don't think that the casual fans that were coming from Raw, based on the advertisements, I don't think hardly any, if any, will stay to next week, or at least two
Well,
next week.
this all depends now on what the TBS schedule is, of course, for the reason that they uh, uh, are preempting it on Wednesday night. The other thing is that um, the hardest worker tonight, one of the hardest workers tonight, is that poor guy with the button that had to bleep every time the fans started chanting bull blank,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
bull
yeah,
blank. They
yeah,
had a they had a I feel sorry for whoever you are. If
yeah,
you're watching this, you're appreciated. And yet on AEW, the language that MJF used tonight
yeah.
was like way off the charts. Again,
I think it's unnecessary, man.
it is.
Yeah,
It is.
yeah,
It definitely
yeah.
is. And the kids in the. I'm
Exactly,
thinking about the kids in the audience.
exactly,
Do I
exactly.
want? I'm going to say something that, bro. Do I want my kid to watch this? Do I want my kid to watch this, bro? I mean, seriously.
Yeah,
Even the NXT audience was going out of their way cussing,
yeah,
and same thing with but it was different. than the wrestlers who do it on Dynamite.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the sign of the times when it comes to these crowds nowadays, Bill. I mean, in the days of the magazines, it was just riveting television storylines. It was just intense character building, and that just was the heart of professional wrestling, man.
And you couldn't say damn on TV.
Yeah. Nowadays it's par for the course because of that bloodthirsty. Like I told you before, man. I think of things from a psychological perspective. You have a bloodthirsty crowd nowadays. You have crowds who finally have an opportunity to do things their way, and I think that becomes an issue because fans are flighty and they're flaky and they're fickle. I mean, and so they, here today, gone tomorrow. Today's, the flavor of the week, and we want to build this guy up, and then we don't like him anymore. I mean, that's why with Kofi Kingston, there was Kofi Mania. As soon as he won the title, the first, 3 months, it was just like, I mean, it's just like, that's just the way of the world when it comes to pro wrestling fans. And I was listening to a lot of Ric Flair's recent interview with Chris Van Vliet, and
great guy, by the way. We met him at
we did meet Chris. We did meet Chris. Yep, at SummerSlam.
Great guy.
His producer, man, who was with him, really good guy, man. We talked for a while. We talked for a long period of time. Just a really conversational. Just a really easy guy to talk to. I mean, he's also an indie promoter, and just a really cool dude, man. So shout out to you. But yeah, just I think for just the fans that we're dealing with, nowadays, that's just the sign of the times, the way of the world. But Ric Flair was talking about that, man. He was talking about how he's not a fan of just the modern day way of booking things when it comes to allowing the fans to take so much control. And I agree with him. I agree with him 100%. He was talking about he doesn't like it. He said that's just, in his days, you controlled the crowd. You didn't allow, I'm paraphrasing, but he was saying you control the crowd. You didn't let the crowd control you. And that's how it should be, man. You got all these, okay, well, he's getting kind of cheered, so let's make him a baby face. But the heel isn't doing heelish things. The heel is eliciting cheers from people, which is taking away the heat from the baby. And so now the baby isn't, getting any shine because the heel wants to get cheered. And it's just a lot. It's just too much, man. It's just way too much.
The fans kind of made LA Knight, didn't they? Because the fans just hooked on to that gimmick, and they went crazy over this thing. And if they didn't, if it wouldn't have worked, he'd still be mid-card.
And I'll have to give it up to Triple H for that. We were wondering, why Austin Theory was in the Royal Rumble. Both of us are still wondering that question. Triple H kind of sidestepped the answer when we asked him. When you asked him, I was right behind you in the press conference post show. But I do, another thing is, like, people were asking him during other pressers, why haven't you basically strapped the Rockets on LA Knight? Yeah. But here's my thing, man. This is what I think about LA Knight. I think you got to let him cook, man. And I said this before. I've said this before many times, Bill, with just storylines and characters. Let them cook. If you strap the Rockets on them real quick, they're going to plateau too fast. And you got to let that slow burn build into that big moment, like a WrestleMania, like a Royal Rumble, because that causes that person's stock to go up. If you make him champion within, 2 months of fans starting to cheer him, you've already plateaued him. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Where do you go with them then?
Exactly. Where do you go from there? And so they're doing a slow type of deal, and they're cooking them, and I like that. I respect that. teaming up with Cena and kind of getting Cena's endorsement. And, I wouldn't be surprised if he wins the Royal Rumble and things like that. I like it. Let him cook. He's feuding with The Miz for a little while. Let him cook, man. Let him cook.
Wait a minute. You're talking about him winning the Royal Rumble. What if that is it's all over the internet that there's no talks going on between WWE and CM Punk officially, allegedly. I think they're holding this off till the Royal Rumble, and he's gonna be a surprise.
It wouldn't surprise me if he was a surprise. I don't think he is going to win it for sure.
I don't know. I want to rewind.
Wait a minute. You think he win it? You think CM Punk will win the Royal Rumble?
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know what's going to, there's a few months between now and
he's going to main event WrestleMania. Oof. Yeah.
No. I don't think. Maybe it would be one of the other titles there. I don't see him.
Wait a minute. So CM Punk wins the Royal Rumble and won't go for the world title?
I don't know. Maybe he'll go for Intercontinental title or something. Maybe he's the guy that'll beat Gunther. I don't know. It's too early to say.
So he wins the Royal Rumble and says, instead of main eventing WrestleMania, I'll just go for an Intercontinental Championship.
Oh, I like that. That's very good. No, I just have a feeling that if he comes back, he may not win it or anything, but I do think that's a good spot to have him. I want to rewind on something here. If we could just get off the Punk thing for a minute. And if you fans, by the way, you're watching this live and you want to join in, of course, let me know if you think, let us know if you think that Punk will come back by Royal Rumble or before that. But I want to rewind. I got a text from Mr. Dasgupta, head content officer, I'm going to call him.
Yes.
And he wanted to know, he said they're looking for a comment for me on the Undertaker's comeback tonight.
Okay.
So I'm going to say this live. I think it was a great idea to bring him back and have him go face to face with Bron Breakker, because I think Bron Breakker is going to break into the main roster soon with Paul Heyman, and Heyman will be excellent for him. And I think we're going to see in the very near future Bron Breakker become a major star on the main roster. But I think Undertaker was there mainly to kind of stir up the image of that maybe Undertaker wants him. What do you think?
So you see Undertaker competing again?
Maybe again against Bron Breakker, and I don't know. It makes you go, Remember Arsenio Hall used to say that all the time?
Yes. Indeed.
Makes you go, But I don't know. I just think something between he and Taker might be a short-lived storyline just to endorse him to going up to the main roster.
I think there's a 0% chance that we see that.
I don't think it'll be a match. I just think some sort of a confrontation, maybe on one of the main shows.
I think they brought Taker in just to cook up the numbers for the USA deal.
What do you people think?
I do think that we'll see Bron Breakker in the main roster soon. I think we should. I mean, he's been in NXT for a while. He was NXT champion for a long time. He turned heel, and even his heel run is getting a bit stale on NXT. He's a star, man. He's a star.
He looks good. He really looks good.
It looks great. He's a star.
He looks like main roster.
I'm not sure how I feel about Heyman with him though, because it wouldn't make sense. Heyman's a bloodline guy, and then he kind of goes off and manages someone else on the side. You know what I mean? I don't like
this guy.
I don't like it. I think that Heyman is because the thing is, he even says on behalf of Roman Reigns. It didn't even make sense. Did Roman Reigns send Bron Breakker, send Paul Heyman there to manage Bron Breakker for a second, for Bron Breakker to join the bloodline. Why would he want to join the bloodline? You got to connect the dots with me when it comes to this stuff.
Well, Bron Breakker maybe could become trouble for Roman Reigns. So instead of having him as an opponent for Roman Reigns, maybe he becomes part of the Paul Heyman stable, not the bloodline, but keep your enemies close to you.
No. That doesn't do anything.
I'm coming up with some odd scenarios tonight.
Yes. Yeah, I don't see it. I like Bron. I think he's a star. I don't. The thing is, here's the thing with Paul Heyman, Bill. Paul Heyman is so good at what he does, but one of the problems with Paul Heyman is that he's so over that he's historically shrouded over people who aren't as over or more over than he is. He was successful. He was successful when he managed CM Punk, because CM Punk's more over than he is. He was successful when he managed Kurt Angle, when he was, involved in that Kurt Angle, Brock Lesnar, Big Show, gimmick back in Ruthless Aggression days. And so that worked because all three of those people were more over than he was. But when he was managing, I think he was dabbling with Matt Morgan for a hot second. So
I remember that.
Yeah, that didn't work. Cesaro didn't work. Ryback didn't work. Michael McGillicuddy didn't work. Like those mid-card stars who he's trying to, have that Heyman rub to bump them. None of them ever worked because Heyman shrouded all of them, because he was more over than he was more over than all of them. And I think that he's more over than Bron Breakker is.
Yeah, but
so Bron Breakker doesn't need that Heyman rub, because Heyman has the opportunity to possibly shroud him. And so you don't want that. You don't want that with Bron Breakker.
I don't know if I agree with that. I could see him with Reigns at the beginning, and then Reigns saying, what do we need this guy for? And this is how the feud develops.
So Bron Breakker's a babyface now?
It'd just be Bron Breakker.
That doesn't, Bill. That doesn't work. That doesn't work. It just be Bron Breakker. Like, no, man.
That's it. You could just be Bron Breakker.
That's what we have nowadays, man. We have
a monster.
We have fans controlling matches, and
no. You have a monster like Bron Breakker now, making Roman Reigns insecure. That doesn't make him a baby face. It makes him, what's going to happen with these two guys who hate each other, and they're both rule breakers? What's going to happen? I would love to see that.
Who are the fans going to cheer, Bill? Who are the fans getting behind?
I don't know. Not at this point. I don't know. I love heels versus heels. I love it.
Yeah, but heels versus heels doesn't move needles. It doesn't put butts in seats. It doesn't cause storylines to develop. It doesn't cause people to cheer for the hero. It doesn't cause people to get more heat by having enough heat.
Okay, then Bron Breakker becomes the fan favorite there.
Well, he was a babyface before. Yeah, he was a babyface before.
I know.
I'm not into that right now. I mean, I think,
but he's more furious. He's more furious. He's got more intensity than he ever had before.
Where do you have this at? What's the payoff here?
The payoff is he beats Roman Reigns.
Bron Breakker beats Roman Reigns.
He looks like a chip, but I'm talking about after a while, not right away.
Okay.
Not right away. Okay. He's got to develop.
Yeah, he has a lot of character development to work on. Yeah. He looks like $1 million. He's great. He was really fit for NXT when he was a babyface. It worked, but even his heel work's been okay too.
I like his heel work for
his heel works okay. Yeah. But I mean, just saying, hey, let's just bring him up, let's just have him feud against him, and let's just see, no one's the baby face. The fans isn't cheering.
Gotta create it. So
when Hogan was a babyface, to give me the biggest baby faces of all time: Hogan, Dusty, who else? Steamboat.
Yeah.
Did you
Bruno.
create them, or were they made already? Were they
Good
ready
question.
made?
Well, Hogan was manufactured at the beginning by Hogan.
Absolutely. The fans had nothing to do with that.
That's correct. That's
Steamboat
correct.
was a white
But
meat
look at
baby.
The Rock. What
Bruno's
about The
another.
Rock? Let's go The Rock against Hogan. The fans changed that whole thing around. I bring that up a lot.
That's not fair to say, because Hogan's in 2002. Hogan was a bona fide star at that time. So I mean, like that's not really making a baby face. That's cheering Hulk Hogan. That's complete different. No, but
he was Hollywood.
But that was Hulk Hogan though. This is Hulk Hogan. Like that's not even a fair comparison. That's not making a baby face. Hulk Hogan in 2002, just like he is in 2023, is an absolute legend. He's super over in Toronto. Come on, Bill. You did the max. You took the photography. You know how over Hogan is in Toronto.
Oh, Hogan was over everywhere.
Exactly. You
Brother, what you're gonna do?
you proved my point. And that's where the people in Toronto cheered Hulk Hogan. They don't care about The Rock. Hogan's more over as a wrestler. And so they
did care about The Rock. They turned their back on him.
They booed him. They didn't care about him.
Turned their back on
but
him.
I don't think you make baby faces. I think that the problem is, and we'll take this super chat before we go.
We got some.
Yeah, I think the problem is that there's been so much booking, especially with Tony Khan. It's just kind of like, let's just see what the fans want, and let's just whatever they want, we'll give them to them. Again, that's why I go back to a legend like Ric Flair. I love when he say that he doesn't like it, because I agree. I don't like it either, because the mindset of pro wrestling fans is so flighty that if you did that every time, that's the reason why it's becoming more and more niche. You wonder why these ratings are dropping and people are going away. It's because fans are so flighty, but so many times wrestling bookers and creative, it's just kind of going where the fans want, and it's just like when was that a thing? When did that become a thing, man? You can't.
The whole business has changed from the day.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's changed. Absolutely.
So what do we got on the super chat?
All right, we got Animal Instinct $5 super chat. Bill, please interview Paul Burchill, Elias, Jackson Riker, Rick Boogs, Lacey Evans, Telsha Blanchard, Awesome Kong. Love your interviews with Perry Saturn.
So you want me to get them all in one room?
Yes. Yes, a group interview.
I'm going to mention to Animal Instinct that you can tweet that to me at Apter One Wrestling, or you can email me at the Bill Apter Chat at Gmail, and remind me, and I'll see if I can dig up some of the people. Paul Burchill was one of my favorite wrestlers for a long time. Don't know what's happened to him.
He was really good.
He was a scientific wrestler.
Yeah. Yes. And for his size, he was very, very.
Who else you got on there? Telsha Blanchard, I know I can get a hold of. Awesome Kong probably too. And thank you about the Perry Saturn ones. I contacted Perry about 3 or 4 months ago, and we're going to try and hook up to do an interview. He's kind of backwards on social media, so we have to find a way to do this. Maybe we can get him right here on UnSKripted.
Ooh, I'd be a fan of that.
If he stays up late.
Yeah, indeed. Bill, let the listeners know where to find you, my man.
Well, right here on Apter's Alley, October 28th. I am now booked at the Icons of Wrestling Convention at the old ECW Arena, 2300 Arena. I will have copies of my book for sale and be doing interviews all day, and even interviewing you fans if you like. So come out October 28th, 2300 Arena, Philadelphia, PA, if you will.
If you will, baby. Indeed. Bill Apter's in the building. Shout out to Lloyd Anoa'i who stepped in as a member of the SK Nation today. That was great. If you haven't checked out our go ahead.
He's kind of like an advisor to the show at this point, an unofficial,
Indeed,
official
indeed.
advisor.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
If you haven't checked out our interview with Lloyd and I, go check it out on the Russell Binge Sportskeeda page. It was a great interview. We really, both of us, Bill and I, had a great time chatting with Lloyd and I. Go check that out if you haven't seen it. It was last week's episode of UnSKripted. And me, follow me at Chris Prolific. I'm actually heading over to the Pancakes and Power Slam show to chat with the audience. Thank you very much. All right, y'all, listen. This right here is Bill Apter.
Hey, before we leave, Alpha Jr., who's been having some physical problems, some health problems, want to wish him the best. And his birthday was several days ago. So happy birthday.
Very nice. Very nice. This guy right here is Bill Apter. I'm Dr. Chris. This is UnSKripted. Have a good night, everybody. Solo.